Ah, yes, the Chevy Impala, the favorite vehicle of lowriders, grandfathers, and rental fleet employees. Dramatically changed. Yes, that is an Impala. Let's drive a 2014 2LT and check the tech. Now, this is the part of our video where I normally tell you how to spot the car in question. That's easy on this one. Just open your eyes. This car looks nothing like that previous Impala, that dough-ball queen of the rental lot. This car has angles and creases, kind of a rear haunch sloping forward design, a little bit of Camaro, a little bit of Malibu, and hotness all over it. They've done a nice job with this vehicle. Now, inside the Impala, we have what is known in the common American vernacular as fancy. Unfortunately, GM traditionally can't help themselves in confusing luxurious with gaudy, so I see a lot of overly polished plasterwood and excessively wide chrome strips all over this thing, but that's just how they do it. Now, the star of the show, as you probably noticed, is this 8-inch Chevy MyLink head unit. This is your audio, your media, weather, Pandora. Your OnStar is now graphically controlled, not just in those mirror buttons that still exist up here. And the trick that everyone loves is push the button. You've seen this on TV probably. Well, push it and hold it. And the screen goes up, and there you have a little secret bin for your mobile device, and it can also charge on that USB port, which is also a connection for media. Now, when I go to the navigation system, you find the first indication of what continues to pop up throughout this rig, which is very slow response. This unit seems to be overwhelmed by the processing chores it has to do. That tells me not enough CPU or not optimized code. Just trying to zoom out is a push again and again experience. If you want to enter a destination, you can press that button there. Oof. No thanks. I prefer to use the voice command, which is actually pretty advanced on this car. You're able to tell it an address as the number, the street, and the city in one go. That's nice. And you get good prompts in the center screen, and you sometimes get the similar prompts on the main screen. So there's a lot of visual support, so you know what it wants you to say and can get the task done and get back to driving. Street address.
Say the address in California, or say change state, or
235 2nd Street, San Francisco.
235 2nd.
Yes.
Complete your selection from the radio display.
Now here's where it gets long and sluggish. For some reason it's transferring from that screen to this screen and taking forever. And I was told to wait and look over here and now continue my confirmation of the navigation. That's where things start to break down. So I hit my address to go there. For some reason it took me to the Pacific Ocean. I don't know what's going on. The audio sources are pretty straightforward. Nothing goofy, everything solid. So you've got lots of USB ports. You saw the one up in here, right? I've got 2 more down here in the console. You can run 3 USB devices at once. Other media choices include my streaming Bluetooth phone, of course. There's AM, FM, satellite, and HD radio on this guy. And Pandora works quite seamlessly. Once your phone's paired, boom, it just works. Nice meta tags, good album art, very clear controls. They've done a good job on that. Now let's talk about driver control technology. First of all, you see our shifter here, one choice only, 6-speed automatic. There is a manual position, but not a sport mode. But when you get in there, you don't have paddles to shift on this car ever. You use this little dainty rocker switch on top of the knob. I never liked that. Now we have all the driver assistance tech in this car, which includes rear view camera, which is optional, by the way. It should be standard on a car of this level in this price. We have a lane departure warning, but it won't correct anything. We'll check that on the road. We have blind spot indications. Again, there's no correction, just that little light goes off. And we also have forward collision warning, which will tell you when you're closing on someone too fast, but again, won't do anything about it. And we also have rear sonar for parking along with that optional camera, and that combines also for cross-traffic alert to avoid getting T-boned when you're backing out. Now under the hood, the Impala is unusual. The only car in its class where you can get a 4-cylinder. 2.5-liter direct injection modern motor, but you won't find that on Taurus or a Zera or its other competitors. We don't have it though. We have the big boy right now, the V6 that is 3.6 liters, direct injection, variable valve timing. Output is 305 horsepower, 264 foot-pounds of torque. This car weighs 3,800 pounds or so, gets up to 60 in 6.8 seconds thereabouts. So it's not bad, certainly no slug. Now the MPG is 1828, but an average of just 21. Kind of thirsty. What brings up an interesting point. There will be later in production the availability of a 2.4-liter EcoAssist mild hybrid. We've driven that engine before, not anything quite this big, but it could be an intriguing motor. It's actually kind of a nice one, and it could take care of the thirstiness here. We'll see about that. Let's go for a ride. Let it be said, the Impala's V6 engine's got gobs of good stuff if you put it in manual and sift through the gears, but if you leave it to the automatic, everything is muted. The shifts are relatively buttery, they're not urgent, and therefore the engine doesn't feel urgent, although I think it is. The powertrain isn't because of the transmission. Now, the ride quality is excessively smooth, and the steering is kind of numb and over-assisted. All of this is, as you can tell, adding up to a lot of the DNA from the old Impala kind of bleeding through. General Motors still thinks this car is apparently selling to the same audience it used to sell to, which I find a little surprising for all the work they've done on it. Now, out on the open road, the lane departure warning system is calibrated a little lazily for my taste, is the best way to put it. It doesn't seem to sound the warning until you're already on or well over the line, most of the time on the freeway. That, to me, kind of defeats the purpose. The forward collision warning does have the 3 settable levels, and it is actually a pretty meaningful tech. It seems to do a pretty good job. Although, I'm happy to report, I rarely found it doing its job while I was driving, which is good. And all, this car feels like a much more quality piece than the previous Impala, which is actually high praise. I find the outgoing Impala to be, while highly uninspiring, an actually very serviceable, very well-built car, if not much in terms of concept. Okay, let's price our 2014 Impala. This guy's a 2LT. It's basically the mid-trim level. Nice, but not everything is in there. So we start adding on. $1,095 to get that MyLink head unit with navigation. That's a must to go CNET style. Now, as I mentioned, you gotta also package up if you want a rear camera. That makes me grit my teeth, but you gotta do it. That's called the convenience package: rear cam, rear sonar, automatic mirror, home link. It's a little under $1,000. Now, the steal of the day is their driver assistance package. For only $890, you get the forward collision warning, the cross-traffic alert, the lane departure warning, the blind spot warning. That's kind of a deal. So all in, we're somewhere shy of $36,000, nicely equipped, but not top of the line. How does the Impala fare overall? This is not a driver's car, but it's a nice driving car. Know what I mean? It's not going to appeal to a dramatically different market than the one that left it, but it's now a seriously good competitor against the Taurus, the 300, the Azera, and the Toyota Avalon. All of which, by the way, have been refreshed lately. It's a very competitive space, but this guy can hold its own.